Welcome everybody to chat with Andy and I about optimizing aircraft return to service and exploring the benefits of Work Center. My name's Kent Pickard. I've been with Veryon for about 10 years now and really excited to show off some of the new capabilities and talk about the power and the benefits for our customers. And with me is Andy.
Thanks, Kent. Hey, I'm Andy Schultz, Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Veryon. And I'm excited to share the benefits of Work Center and give a visual overview and a dive into what it can do for you.
So we have just a few slides here, and then we'll get into the meat of a demo. But just to orient everybody and give people some background about what we set out to do, we have this slide to provide some information. So taking a couple steps back, Work Center is part of the Veryon tracking platform. So our Veryon tracking platform today has maintenance capabilities as well as inventory, ability to manage documents, link into tech pubs, and things like that. Work Center provides the same level of depth as we have in maintenance tracking and inventory for the work execution aspect. And of course, there's a lot of stuff out there in the market today that was built with the standalone service center in mind. People who are doing retail work for aircraft, kind of, doing very transactional, quoting, doing the work, returning the aircraft to service, and not really seeing that aircraft again. So we took a different approach in building our service center solution in terms of we built it with operators in mind. And so while, of course, it's important that our solution can facilitate workflows where aircraft are coming in and leaving, what was most important to us was to make sure that our customers who are operators would be able to return their aircraft to service smoothly, get the full benefits of the fact that they have, their due list and their non-routines and their write-ups and their squawks and all of that stuff in the maintenance tracking system to make it really easy to build work orders. And as work orders progress, be able to see the airworthiness status of an aircraft. So if, for an example, there's an opportunity to do a revenue flight or to, complete a mission for the business, mid work stream, the possibility is there to assess the airworthiness, see if operations can have the aircraft back, which in the more throw it over the wall systems just isn't possible. Some of the capabilities we've delivered that support that, of course, are the ability to generate an invoice and billing profile. So especially if you're a management company that does monthly or 2 times a month invoices for managed owners, this solution is definitely going to provide benefits versus what you're probably doing today. A lot of other customers don't need the invoicing capability, but are very much doing work in-house, need to understand, costs for budgeting purposes, for more internal reasons. And so all of the depth of capability around invoicing also feeds in the ability just to have really clean financial reports that show, effort, parts, all of that stuff and brings it all together. And like I was saying earlier, we do support external aircraft or components. So if you need to open a work order on, an aircraft that you're helping out somebody in an AOG scenario, or if you have a hybrid scenario where you're doing service center work alongside work on aircraft you're operating, we can definitely support that. One more slide here until we get into the meat of it. Again, our benefits here, what we're trying to do for our customers is allow them to maximize the time available for planning and executing work. We'll show how we do that in the demo here. When it comes to returning the aircraft to service, buttoning up all the paperwork, making sure that the invoice is going to be correct, logbook entries are going to be correct. We have tools to enable that. Really, overall, the big benefit that we are targeting for our customers is to free up the leaders to be able to focus strategically on improving their operation or growing their business and need to spend less time running around and making sure things don't fall through the cracks. So in terms of, making sure that inventory is linked to the work order that needs it, to the purchase order that's going to satisfy the need, Work Center provides those capabilities. And really, the biggest thing facing a lot of our customers today, biggest challenge is just the supply chain. Getting parts when you need them cost effectively is harder than ever. And if you think about the big time savings and coordination benefits of Work Center, if you can just spend part of that time, you're going to get back shopping for parts, looking at parts marketplaces, things like that, which have a lot of stuff to pick through, but some very good needles in the haystack, if you will, in terms of value. Really, expecting our customers to be able to realize a lot more value and return on investment just by being able to spend their time on more lucrative things, again, versus making sure that the paperwork was done correctly, that parts are on there, and knowing if we're going to get the parts or not. So with that, I'll go ahead and launch into a quick demo of Work Center here. Just to orient everybody, is the Maintenance Information Center. If you are a current customer, you're very used to the screen already. But basically, this is the top page of the Information Center. If you are a current customer, you're very used to the screen already. But basically, this is the top page of our maintenance tracking system. It's going to break down, here's your fleet on maintenance tracking. We can see with these demo tails that, all of these things have items that need to be addressed. There's open non-routines, things like that. And so, yeah, now kind of approaching it from the perspective of, we're going to dig in and, create some work orders and get some stuff done. So again, if you're familiar with our system, you're probably noticing that there's a new Work Center option up top here, and giving you the ability to manage accounts, contacts, assets, and work orders. So I'm going to go into our assets module first and just explain a little bit of what that is. Essentially, assets are the things that allow you as the customer to decide what do you want to work on. And so today, our old work order module, 100% depended on maintenance tracking. Those are the only things that you could open a work order against. But assets now give you the ability to create anything or link to anything that you might track in your inventory system to open a work order against. So those break down into both internal and external assets. The internal ones, again, are going to be what's on maintenance tracking. There's a ton of benefits in that tight integration between your do list and your work completed and non-routines in Work Center. But then there's also the concept of external assets, which could be, a customer aircraft that isn't on maintenance tracking. It could be an AOG scenario. It could be a component. The point is that you're able to create an asset, anything, and then open a work order against it. Another big benefit is as aircraft might transition off of maintenance tracking, the asset will hang around as long as you need it to, so that you can get back to any historical data that you may have captured in there. So just opening up an example here, I've got a Learjet 60. You can see it has a lot of work orders created against it in the past, as this is what I'm using, quite often to do demos and things like that. So I have one that I've already started out and built that I'm going to open up just to show off some things. So coming into the work order, and again, if you're a current customer, you're probably, seeing something that looks somewhat familiar to you. We had a ton of good feedback from our customer base using our old basic work order module. And in general, we saw a lot of opportunities to improve that. I'd like to say we completed about 90% of those requests that people had, if not more. But also with that, if it wasn't broke, we didn't try to fix it. So for example, overall showing status of line items, how work orders are built from an add items perspective, things of that nature, we decided to leave as is in the old system if it didn't seem like there was a big opportunity to improve it. So for example, ability to pull from do list, maintenance items, non-routine, the holding box, all that stuff is very much present in here. Calling out some of the newer features, we have the ability to define your own workflows and customizable statuses. So everything that you guys see under here, all these colored status tiles are 100% customizable by you, the end user. You can do it in the system settings. No need to pick up a phone or email anyone. It's 100% in your hands. So this allows you to align, the status of work orders to your internal processes. We have the same capability at a line item level. So again, the statuses here are customizable. Whatever makes sense in your organization can be tailored to reflect the most important things to your teams. Within that, for me logging in here, I can see I have 3 open assignments. I can use this little tile here to further drill in and see that, one is listed in progress, one is listed as waiting for the part, and one is still needing review here. And there's a lot of depth I'm only going to be able to scratch the surface on today. but just want to show off some of the key new capabilities. And by all means, please reach out to us if you'd like to get some more questions answered or are interested in a demo. Showing some examples here, we see that there's a defibrillator battery replacement. Looks like this aircraft may have been used in a medical kind of scenario use cases. So with this, we see, defib battery replacement due. It stands to reason, you could very well need a part. Again, yeah, referring to the pain that everybody's feeling around the supply chain. The questions are, what stands in the way? How are we going to get the part? When's it going to get here? And so with the deep integrations we have between parts and Work Center and the rest of the system, I can see right here, I need one. Currently, I have no allocated, and I should be concerned about that. Although I do see something is ordered, but it's warning me here again that this purchase order is currently in a draft status and may not have been sent to the vendor. I can also see that earlier I requested it and can further drive into that, drill in to see that, yes, here's the request that was open. It looks like that this request was made, purchase order was created, but right now it's just sitting in that draft state. From here, without even leaving this work order, I can go ahead and click that, which is going to open the purchase order in a new tab and show me what stands in the way. I can see that, it just wasn't sent to the vendor. Maybe that's already happened, so I can update that. And really the power of all of this and usefulness in this case in terms of making sure that the parts end up where they need to go is the fact that at the line item level on the purchase order, we're able to link to the line item on the work order. So if I did, let's say these parts came in and I go to receive it, it's going to intelligently suggest that these parts need to be allocated back to the work order. So in this case, again, yeah, showing me here's the work order, here's the line item where it needs to go, prompting me for the serial number. If I'm doing this on my iPad, I could go ahead and upload attachments like 8130s, things like that. But at this point, filled in the required information, I can hit receive. So from here, we can see where this purchase order, where we have received part in, we can see that this was the work order where it needed to go back to. And right here on the part screen, it's now showing me, before it was warning me that I, didn't have the allocation, that I had a draft purchase order. This is now showing me that I've satisfied this need, so no more warning triangles with exclamations in the middle of it. And now I'm able to know, like, all right, I have the part, we're ready to proceed. And so potentially in this case, it's going to go back into in progress. Again, whatever makes sense in my organization. So pointing out some of the other capabilities here, I'm going to switch to the billing tab. So underneath this, we can see that there is a good breakdown between what we estimated something would cost, what it's actually costing us, and then based on our billing rules, how we're going to bill it and what our profit margin is. And so scrolling down further, I can see, if we had a part, in this case, this is a good opportunity to see that something doesn't look right here. I have a part on a work order, but it currently didn't have a cost associated to it. So therefore, it's not able to produce a markup or include it on an invoice. But again, we're helping our users, our customers get ahead of, when data might be missing, when something needs to be cleaned up. So rather than, 2 weeks later trying to put together an invoice, it can be caught much sooner. Underneath the labor section, I can see that we've booked 9 hours. And then based on this billing profile and that the billable price will be, not sure what that currency code is, but it looks like we're going to bill it out at $270. If there are any additional costs, like we did non-destructive tests, anything along those lines, whatever else doesn't fit under labor or parts can be set up as an additional cost. And then markups can also be applied to that. So now's probably a good time as any just to show off the system settings. I'm not going to go through everything here, but again, the billing profile is what provides a lot of the capability here. So I can open up one that's published just for an example. We can see that we can define the terms, tax if applicable. It's possible to include a shop fee, and shop fees can be a percentage of parts, labor, or parts plus labor. And you can also set a floor and a ceiling in terms of, we always bill at least $100 shop fee, but we're never going to bill more than $5,000 shop fee. All of that can be programmed intelligently, and so the system will recommend what you want it to do. Labor rates, we can see here, we have 3 things defined. The standard one's marked as the default. So if a non-routine is added to a work order, for example, it's going to automatically be associated to that rate. We can see, basically a breakdown between the the average hourly cost and the billable hourly rate. So in this case, obviously very much sample data, billing something out at about $16 that costs us $12 in labor. Not sure where this work's getting done, but highly cost effective. On parts pricing rules, we can see min and maxes and how much it'll be marked up. So general rule of thinking is that, the more expensive something is, the lower the markup. And so the system can intelligently capture that and apply it. And then, like I was saying, you can also do the same thing for any additional cost categories. So very customizable by the end user. So far, I believe, this covers all of the use cases and complexities of billing. But above and beyond that, at a line item level, it's understood that when you're billing something, you need the ability to override things to intelligently, based on certain circumstances, decide, I don't want to show it on an invoice, or, yeah, I know we captured 9 hours against this, but for whatever reason I need to pretend like I only spent 5 hours on it. And so without, messing up any of your cost data, things like that, you can go ahead and override it. System's going to show that it was overridden. But you can get your invoice to look however you need it to. Last quick piece here, I'll just show off the invoicing capabilities. It is very possible to build an invoice on the fly. So just as easy as it is to build a logbook entry and add items to a logbook, you can now add items to an invoice. You can choose to create a new one or add it to an existing. In this case, I already have an invoice created, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump into that. So this is really giving you the view of, what your customer is going to see, combines everything, summarizes everything for what you're going to bill across labor, parts, and any additional costs. Provide a total here, and on the right, it's going to break down, our labor, our parts, shop fees, the total, subtotal, tax, whatever it might be to ultimately display that to the customer. So within one of these, I can drill in further to see, what's associated to it. Looks like I've got some labor here. There currently isn't a work description. The work descriptions by default are going to pull either from your corrective actions on a non-routine or from the work description field for routine items. Often proper write-up's going to have some jargon about like a part being removed and replaced in accordance with all of that other stuff. So this enables me to kind of add on to that for the customer's benefit. Or if I just need to change it, fix a typo that I wasn't worried about for my documentation, but might throw off a customer. Classic example would be, if there's a non-routine about the Wi-Fi not working, you have a jargony corrective action, you can go ahead and amend to that to note to the customer, the person paying for this work, that we believe the Wi-Fi should work reliably now. We'll know the next time we fly, or something along those lines. And then again, customizable statuses here. So, usually invoices aren't in a to-do state, so we don't have that here. We can see these are all the different versions of in progress. You can also set up the ability to generate quotes using this module. But if we come to the point where we're happy with it, we're ready to send this to the customer or to our finance or accounting department to send to our customer, can use the finalize command for that. It's going to ask us to put it in, again, one of our customizable statuses. So we might say this is the final review step. At this point, it's going to go ahead and capture that information. It's going to add another version to the tab here. So I can see I'm on version 3 of it. Anytime I print it or generate a PDF or finalize it, it's going to capture that snapshot moment in time for me. And then I can pull up the PDF here. It's designed to look very clean and have just the right level of information for the customer, so we can see the normal stuff on top, who's paying for it, when's it due, what's the grand total. Oftentimes customers aren't going to look too far beyond that, but of course we know that there are ones that will want to look at every last line item and get that other summary. So every line item, again, breaking down what needed to be done, what was actually done, what was billed across the different types, all the way to the final page where we'll get the summary again, breaking down, labor, parts, shop fee. It looks like there was some outside service. And again, these are customizable by the customer. I could probably spend all day demoing the rest of the system. There's quite a bit here. And again, this is like 2.5, 3 years of development and listening to a lot of our customers. So would love to hear from the customers, set up a demo with us, and happy to show you something that is crafted for your context.
Awesome. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you sharing the demo and a high level anyways of what Work Center can do, and sharing some of the awesome benefits and different functionalities that we have available within the Work Center platform.